everybody, this is Andrew from mobileburn.com, and I'm taking a look at a phone that you might not have heard of. It's from Coolpad, and it's coming to C Spire later this year. Now, you probably haven't heard of Coolpad, but it's actually one of the top 10 smartphone producers in the world, and you're going to learn more about this phone now. This is the Coolpad Quattro 4G, and as the 4G name implies, it is an LTE device. It's coming on C Spire's burgeoning LTE network, and you see you got the little 4G logo on the back. As far as the build, it's got a plastic build, but it's got this finely woven texture, so it's a little scratchy, kind of like when you hear like a vinyl scratching, but not too much. You know, when it's actually resting in your palm, it doesn't feel very alien or anything like that. It's not a problem. You notice on the buttons, it has capacitive buttons for home, back, and of course menu. I know some of you don't like the glass buttons, you prefer all virtual, but that's not something you get here. As far as the screen, it's a 4.5-inch display, QHD display. Now the resolution isn't at the top of the line what you see with some other Android devices, but they are specifically targeting the mid-range. You know, Coolpad is a company that has built phones for Metro PCS, and they're very popular in China. They came into America, and they're trying to do it slowly by introducing mid-range devices. In terms of specs, it's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. Well, it's not connected to the web, so I really can't take it for a spin. I wanted to try to test it out, but it's really not connected. But when you're actually moving through the apps, when you're trying to get a sense of how the phone performs, it performs about as well as you would expect for a mid-range device. It has a 5-megapixel rear camera on the back with the flash, as you see to the right of it. Aside from that, it's running mostly stock Android, 4.1.2. Now I say mostly because it's not exactly pure Android. When you pull down the lock screen, you can see that they customize the pull-down menu to have the quick switches. They've also changed the launcher a little bit. You see the font's a little different. It's more of a Roboto type of font rather than what you typically see in Android. Other than that, it's not deep, heavy customizations like you see with TouchWiz or with HTC Sense. Just more of a modification to the launcher and the notification shade. Now it has Android 4.1, so it does support Google Now. It has a gigabyte of RAM, 4 gigabytes of internal storage. I didn't see a micro SD slot here anywhere in the device. Wait, do I see a micro SD slot here? Let me double check. No, that's the power button, silly me. On the left, you have volume up and down. You have the micro USB charging at the bottom, as well as a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And the screen is very fingerprint friendly, so I'm gonna have to clean that off for a second. And finally, you'll see it has a 0.3 front-facing camera for video chat, 1800 milliamp battery underneath this case. It has a removable case, and the battery is removable. And I forgot to mention, when I say 4G, it is LTE compliant, so it also supports voice over LTE. And that's not going to be available in all areas, but in areas where C Spire launches voice over LTE, that's going to improve the quality of your phone calls. This is coming in a couple of months, maybe a few weeks actually. I'll put the details in the section below. But in the meantime, this is Andrew from mobileburn.com testing out the Coolpad Quattro 4G. Based on what they're telling us, you're going to hear a lot more from them in the mid-range sector in the coming months and years in the US.